Royal FM that is out to X-rail and brainstorm on issues affecting our society with the aim of bringing change. Topics and realities.
Every Saturday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m.
on Royal FM.
Topics and realities. A weekly program brought to you by the English desk of Royal FM.
Royal FM.
Topics and realities.
Topics and realities.
Topics and realities.
The gateway to change.
Good afternoon, blessed people. Welcome to Topics and Realities. Has been noticed in Cameroon that political parties contribute very little in terms of development, especially when they do not hold power. One of the reasons put forward by political scientists in Cameroon remain the fact that out of election windows or periods, political parties in Cameroon become dormant. They fail to visualize their struggle and strategies, but focus only on election. And during election periods, that is when most of them becomes active, making it very difficult for them to conquer the political terrain. In today's edition of the program Topics and Realities, we want to find out the possible answer to why most political parties in Cameroon are not implanted nationwide. As our main topic today in the program Topics and Realities, we shall focus on the recurrent violence in the northwest and southwest region. This week, 3 traditional rulers were killed, civilians tortured, and houses burned at a time when the push for dialogue is on the rising. Today, we shall be finding out who is behind the crisis as a dominant player who wants the crisis to continue. This is Topics and Realities, where we capture the topic, treat the information, and mix in the reality in our daily life. The team keeping you company this afternoon is made up of Karopo Danten, who is our copyright clerk, Irish Kemo is our sound engineer plus our video editor on our Facebook page, Royal FM Cameroon. The program Topics and Realities is a production of Royal FM with editorial coaching coming from Jean-Pascal Antala. Coordination is done by our own station manager, Bertrand Uwona. General supervision is ensured by Reverend Pastor Emmanuel Nobesai. Call me the moderator. I am the son of Danki. My name is
we collabo. Me I define my way like Pantaco. Mauvaise énergie loin de moi, de moi. Mauvaise énergie loin de moi. Quand tu tournes on te frappe le dos. Même quand tu chantes on a mon dos. Les ennemis sont comme Kamnogo. Mais mon Dieu voit mon boulot. Your friends them running you. The ones that hate on you. That's all the worry. You carry your mother to Kutaba. Yeah, that's all the worry. They want to use your case to solve. That's all the worry. Mon histoire ne peut pas changer mon frère. Everybody know yeah. Mon histoire ne peut pas changer mon frère. Everybody know don't be like me, I don't pay my dues. Enemies wanna put me for use. Oh shit. But the energy stay far away, away. But the energy stay far away. What kind of food got first night? Bolo and put God for before the motto. Jaco, sing for them.
Thank you very much, Irish Kimwe, for that music. You said the artist is Chaco and featuring Vivi Nasudeweli there. Yeah, that is the music coming from Irish Kimwe this afternoon. If you are just tuning in, the program is Topics and Realities, in which we give you real political debates. And with us, we are going to continue with the program. And at this point in time, we are going to find out from what the papers have been saying with Susan Nayonge. And when we come back, we are going to introduce to you those who are already in the studio as we start the program. Good afternoon to you, Susan Nayonge.
Good afternoon, Abel. Good afternoon to all Royal FM listeners and Facebook page followers. Welcome to today's edition of the Weekly Press Review. Here is what made news during the week. The papers had a common focal point this Monday on the Anglophone crisis. The Guardian Post had as main headline, "As Ngarbu massacre clocks 1 year, military unleashes another barbaric act in Ndu." The Post headlined, "Soldiers torture Ndu man to near death." Tired of war, thirst for peace, Archbishop Andrew Nkeya cries out for his people, was The Voice newspaper's main headline. In politics, the Post had a story, Frundi to surrender SDF chairmanship at next convention. The Guardian Post headlined it as, Frundi gives Bia other sit-tight party leaders democratic lessons. The Horizon had a story, youngest MP receives, advises Northwest junior MPs. Ladies News had a story which featured entrepreneurship and economic insertion. UNDP hands over equipment worth 110 million CFA francs to 100 young and female awardees. Still on this paper, another story featured World Radio Day, UNESCO supports distance learning on long waves. Cameroon Tribune headlined, Sirac, diverse gifts flood to borrow. On Tuesday, Emergence Bilingual Daily had a story, higher education, over 2,000 disgruntled PhD holders protest today. The Star newspaper had as main headline, OPDs on government's neck to ratify CRPD. Still on this paper, a story featured, husband cut off wife's hands after saying she failed to have children. The Info newspaper had a story, government allocates France CFA 3.227 billion for FACO in 2021. Still on this paper, another story headlined in Health, is Cameroon in line to acquire coronavirus vaccine? The Guardian Post on its part headlined, as cancer cases surge, WHO warns Cameroonians against alcohol, tobacco consumption. In sports, Cameroon Tribune headlined, Fecafoot Professional Football League, fans decry persistent cacophony. The Pressmen on Wednesday had a lot of stories. Eden newspaper had as main headline, Human Rights Violations Worsen in Anglophone Regions. On the same paper, a story titled, DDR Bamenda Ex-Fighters Go on Rampage. Emergence on its part had a story, Human Rights Good Leadership Advocacy for Africa appoints Agbobala as country director. L'Action newspaper on its part had a story, Youth Role Models, Paul Biya cites examples to emulate. The Guardian Post had a story, Anglophone intellectual guru Professor Lantum dies. Then on Thursday, the Median had as main headline, Strike at Bamenda DDR Center, PM rushes envoy to Bamenda with cash. Something which the Guardian Post and The Voice didn't miss out. Emergence Bilingual Daily had a story, Douala, security brutality leaves one person dead. East Region, CSPH-funded filling station inaugurated in Gari Gombo is a story featured on the Guardian Post. Meanwhile, Cameroon Tribune had a story, Combating Corruption, Konak takes fight to Boya schools. In sports, the Horizon newspaper had a story, 1. Fekafoot, 2. Interim management. The Guardian Post had as main headline, Failed attempts to resolve crisis in Northwest-Southwest could unpopularity of Anglophone ministers also be the problem? Still on this paper, a story featured, in 1 year of operation, Douala Post Container Terminal generates 49 billion francs CFA. Emergence Bilingual Daily had a story, Boya, municipal police worker cheats death after caught with stolen items. Mutation newspaper headlined in health, COVID-19 in Cameroon, 61 deaths in 1 month. We end this press review with sports, as Emergence Bilingual Daily had as main headline, Olembe Sports Complex, 55 billion of shame. That brings us to the end of the press review. Thanks for listening, stay tuned and see you same time next week for another edition.
Thank you very much. Suzanne Nayonge. If you are just tuning in, the program is Topics and Realities coming to you live from Royal 88.4 FM. Already we have some, I guess, who are already with us in the studio. I begin with you, Franklin. Good afternoon, Franklin.
Good afternoon, Abel.
Franklin Wanchichi. I hope I'm right.
Wanchin.
Wanchi.
That is the name.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Abel. Good afternoon, listeners. Good afternoon, fellow panelists.
It's a pleasure for me to welcome you this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
I know you are a gentleman, and this is a listeners radio. We have somebody who is already online. You know, Topics and Realities is an interactive program. You too can call the number 655-543457, 655-543457, or 671-157321. He's already online. He say, Abel, let me give my own part of my contribution before the people take. Hello, sir.
Mr. ABEL Bela Samari.
Yeah, good afternoon to you. This is Kidi Young. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, my dear.
Yeah, I know you listen to the press. Review. Is there anything that caught your attention?
Well, some few points caught my attention as usual, you know, like the point where why you that Cameroon political parties they go hiding in the doldrum after elections, once they hide themselves.
Yeah, that is our teasers. To you, why is it that our political parties are not implanted? That is what I said in the introduction. Throughout the national territory, we see political parties that have been reduced to regional parties. Like, for example, they will tell you that the SDF is a regional party, the UDC is a regional party, where political parties are supposed to be regional party. That is our teaser.
There are some political parties which are not only regional parties or sub-regional parties. There are some political parties which are like family parties. That's when you have the president who is the father of the example, the government now gives subvention or subsidizes campaigns. They take some of those 5-10 million and put in their pockets. They don't go around for any campaign. So that is how some of these people, I don't want to call them politicians, that are some of these hungry people, they do.
Okay.
That's why some of them they hide during good time. After elections, you don't get them anymore.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Sir?
No, you're welcome.
Okay.
Since I'm following the program, I'll be calling time after time.
Okay. Thank you very much. You stay tuned. That is Kid Young. He's the one who had to break in. He called so early this afternoon. You too can do the same. Topics and realities and interactive program 6555.
When we have two interims in Fegafood, that is this, how do we call it? Power dragging. There are two people fighting for power in Fegafood. If that issue is not resolved, ABEL, Cameroon will still produce an intermediary team that will look like the last one.
Okay, that is the only issue that caught your attention.
There's another one that was on the press review.
Yes.
Then so people in particular are mourning the death of a guru, Dr. Lantum.
Yeah.
It is all over newspapers.
Tashi Bastos.
Shufai Bastos.
That is how he's being called.
I really wish to extend my condolences to the family and to the Cameroonian intellectuals as a whole.
Given the fact that you are from the South land and you know the Professor Lantum was the only person that had the biography of Dr. Sonkin Kang Bernard Fonlon. Time and again, he has been able to come to the press and explain some of the things that Sonkin Kang was doing. Bernard Fonlon was doing some of the books that he wrote that people could not lay hands on them. He was the one. So it is a very big loss.
I think I will just say special condolence to Cardinal Chumi, because amongst all of them that early went to Nigeria for studies, Chumi is the only one remaining. So Kika went ahead, Bishop Bedrekov has gone, now Shufai Bastos has followed. There are still others like Nzaka Paul and others. So at least Cameroon is mourning.
Okay.
Because I'm sure that's the only traditional medicine man that, let me call it that way, a traditional practitioner that combined with the Western medicine and the African medicine in order to heal many diseases.
Okay. Thank you very much. We also welcome Mr. Jiri Monfula, who is here with us this afternoon, and he's the member of the CPDM party. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Fula.
Thank you very much, Ebert. I don't know whether I'm on the air.
I strongly believe that you are on the air now.
I'm very proud and very glad to be here once again. So I will do everything till the end of this program in order to bring all the answers to some of the question of your listener.
Okay.
This is one of I can even say that the most listening program talking about English speaking, the most listening debate in English in this country, in this national capital. So for us, the CPDM member, it's an obligation. I also want to seize this occasion to greet all the members, the sympathizers, the followers I was yesterday with my comrade from the northwestern region, coming from Kumbo. I am very. I spend a very good time with them. I want to greet them and reassure them that we do everything in order to bring our party forward. You know, we are the main political party, and we do everything in order to keep this position in this country.
Okay, you came in when the caller was holding. I don't know whether you got something from the press review or we go straight to our teaser.
I didn't listen to the press review due to the fact that the car where I was don't have a radio. So it's now I can see the question to launch an appeal to all the taxi men, the taxi driver to have a radio in their taxi place.
So we are still waiting for 2 or 3 persons who will be joining us shortly, because I see Mr. Lenkham is already saying that he's on his way. Some few meters he will be joining us in the studio. Same to Tommy Gibbert, who will be coming here. Now, Mr. Fuller, we want to take the teaser question, and the teaser question this afternoon is the fact that all the elections that have been programmed for this period, when I say period, you know, when we talk about election, is either the 5 years period or the 7 years period. And that of the 7 years period, the last one was in 2018 after the presidential elections. And the last elections that just took place is the regional election. Or that just took place, meaning that in the next 5 years, the next elections that we can have in Cameroon is probably going to be in the year 2025. For the first elections, or 2024 for those of the municipal and legislative elections, 2024 2025 as from that period. So when we look, we are already in 2021, and meaning that we have apparently between 4 to 5 years for us to have the first elections that will be coming, and the electoral registration process is going on. And when you look at the feedback, when you talk to some of these people who register elections, who register the voters, election members of the Elecam bureau, they will tell you that the turnout is very timid. Meanwhile, we know that political parties are supposed to be active throughout the period, but we see them going down. Franklin, I know you are not a politician, but you observe the political scene. Have somebody come to sell his political manifestos to you during this period that come and join my party for any reason, or during this period, have you seen any political party moving towards you to canvass for your militantism in that party?
Actually, Abel, there's a problem with political parties in Cameroon. I think that the only political party that really, even if it's not going in for campaign, at least they always try to be active in one way or the other, is the CPDM, followed by the AZF. Although I see some other small parties, I call them small with a reason, because there are those parties that are limited.
What makes them small?
Because it's a party that when you are in the north, you see this party in the north booming, but when you are moved from the north to the Adamawa, the party disappears. Even right down there, some people don't even know that parties like that do exist. So political parties in Cameroon have something that I don't really understand. At times they operate regional, not national.
Why?
We don't know.
Is it the issue of finance? Is it the issue of vision? Or what actually account for this?
Actually, I don't think
they don't want to go beyond their comfort zone, as I can put it.
That is it. Actually, I don't even believe that it is finances. Because with politics, you just need to pass in something positive that people want to know. They will be behind you. If it was finances, SDF wouldn't have been a second political party in this country for that for the length of time it has been. Because actually I've witnessed campaigns from SDF people, they don't have anything to offer. Yet when they offer what people want to hear, when they give people what they want, people go in for them. And CPDM will come out and have its own ways of doing it, and people will go for them. But as we are already saying, I don't really understand what always happens after the election. Even all these parties that we are talking of, that they always try to do something, is because SDF may organize a general meeting once in a year. That's all. We don't even know what are the results of the meeting. CBDM may be having
for the example, we
rallies.
see them having their annual NEC meeting.
Yes,
which is,
annual NEC meeting.
Monthly, yeah.
Yeah. So you will see that CBDM organizes rallies. But my question is always this: what is the aim of organizing a rally? Is it to rally people, come around, talk about people, and share them bread? Is that the aim of a political party? To make people feel that they're happy when they are not? Somebody will trek in dust for over 50 kilometers to come and eat bread and drink water?
So what should the political party then be
Political parties should be a developmental tool. That they should also have their own scheme, also have their own way of bringing development right to the doors of the partisans. Because they will always do everything and then push everything to the hands of the government. And it is from there that now that we see all these problems left and right. Because Cameroonians themselves, they are not taking their own responsibilities. They push everything that government will do this, government will do that. To be candid with you, the moment political parties also try to force the government to give that developmental aspect of life, that's to bring out development to the people, like making militants know that, making party militants know that for our party, we plan to dig this road, go this way, and our party is doing it. Not the case of we are still waiting. When you wait, you remain in the bush. Then there are still other political parties that we only hear them. We only hear them coming up when there is an election. That's why, for example, when you go when there is municipal and legislative elections, you will see some political parties in some particular places. For example, the CDU. You only hear of a member of parliament standing even at the face of running for the elections only in the North, or let me say in the West region. But there are still other parties that I only hear of them during that time. The worst of all comes in when they are running for presidential election. When they are going for presidential election, you will see 42 candidates. Where are they coming from? Where were they? Where are they coming from? Because having 42 candidates means there are at least 42 political parties in Cameroon. Where are those parties right now? What is their rule? Is it that they should come out and sign a campaign budget, go and eat, and then say that they cheated them? Me, I think that political parties have work.
Okay.
They have to campaign always. Politicians have to prove to the people that they can do it. Because the moment they can do it, I think the country will change, even if it is under political development.
Now, joining us in the studio is Mr. Alenkem. Richard, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, Abel. Good afternoon to listeners of Royal FM. Good afternoon to the panelists, and thank you for inviting me.
You are all the way from Bamayo. And how is Bamayo faring?
We are doing well despite the very harsh weather we have this time around in the country. Plenty of cold in the morning, lot of heat during the day, and so on.
You are a journalism trainer. You are an expert when it comes to political communication. That is your field of study, given the fact that also you have some fine knowledge in philosophy. And you are here to give us a lot of insight out today, especially on communication, especially on governance. Now, we are talking about this teaser question, but Irishkemwe says Promise Akante is now set. Permit us to have Promise Akante with our write up this afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Promise.
Good afternoon to you, Mr. Moderator. Staffman ABEL Bela Samari. Hope your week has been a busy and very productive one. It is always good to be busy. Greetings to all our listeners on 88.4 FM and to those watching us live on Facebook on Royal FM Cameroon. A very cordial welcome to all our guests. Trusting we all had a very interesting week. Well, lots of things happened this week that got Cameroonians talking. From the revendications of the 25,000 recruits who were protesting the non-payment of their dues for about 10 years now, to the government of Cameroon incurring a loan of more than 56 billion francs CFA for the construction of the Paul Biya complex in Olembe, a project that has already swallowed 163 billion francs CFA for no result yet. This complex was supposed to have been completed and be in use since 2018. That got Cameroonians talking. But one other thing that got people talking, or say questioning themselves, is what political parties are doing at this time. We all know that the last major political event we had in this country was the December 6th regional elections. That was in 2020. So, with no striking activity in the horizon, what are these political parties doing? Some are using their political schools to teach young politicians how to be better leaders in future, like the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, the CRM party, and some are actively doing things within their party like the ruling CPDM. Some others continue to oppose, even silence, reiterating that they will never take part in any elections organized by the present regime, like the Popular Action Party, the PAP. Well, they seem to forget that the electoral register is opened for both revision and new registrations. Nevertheless, one thing all these political parties seem to be doing is talking against the ongoing crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Talking of which, these two regions continue to be in the spotlight for one reason or the other, all of it revolving around the crisis. We heard of ex-separatist fighters in DDR centers in the northwest and southwest regions who took to the streets revendicating better living conditions. These are people who had taken up arms to fight for the independence of their land because they felt marginalized and poorly treated. Then, by some inexplicable twist of events, they were either tricked or convinced to drop their weapons and be reintegrated into the society. Time has gone by and they are not seeing anything good coming forth despite all the lofty promises. On the other hand, those who did not disarm are still causing havoc in the two regions with kidnappings, killings, destruction of property. The violence is back and seems to have come to stay. This is a crisis that started in 2016 and here we are in 2021. For how long will this continue? Ladies and gentlemen, dear listeners, there is much to discuss, no time to waste. For you out there, a call or text message will do, or an opinion on the comment section on the live broadcast on Facebook. And for you present in this beautiful blue, brightly lit, air-conditioned Studio Thompson of Real FM 88.4, remember you represent there's so many people who cannot make it in here. So, make sure you speak their minds. Hold nothing back. This is Topics and Realities.
Thank you very much, Promise Akante. It has really been a very busy week for me. Unlike you rightly put it, that we cannot talk free and fair without fearing anybody. And I think that you have already set the mantle and given us the right to talk in this platform. The program is Topics and Realities. Good afternoon to you, to me, Gilbert. You prefer that we should call you Method Man?
Good afternoon, ABEL Bela Samari. Good afternoon to my fellow co-panelists. A warm one to His Royal Highness Pa Lemken.
Yeah, that, I forgot to say that he is the chief of the Anglophone community in Bambayo.
Yes, so it's been long since our paths crossed. So I'm happy to meet with him on this platform again. And I'm extending a very warm afternoon greetings to the one who helps me to put food on the table, who is the director of my company, Mr. So Joseph, who just lost their mother some few weeks back. I'm extending my warmest greetings to him and to all my elements and colleagues that we work here in Yaoundé, not leaving out those who are internally displaced and are spotted all over the nation.
Now, you are an expert in security and vigilance. That vigilant aspect a bit confused me. But security, yeah, I know about that. When we talk about
vigilance here may have to do with being proactive, being foresighted. That is preempting something that may happen. That is, you are vigilant. When they say you should be, vigilance is just a word that has been coined
and it has a link with security.
Yes, it has to do with security. That's why when people maybe want to describe, like in certain buildings, they say there are surveillance cameras. You can also call it vigilance cameras.
Okay.
That is capture images of movement around the premises, which can in turn be used to source out an incident that happened in a location.
Okay.
Yes.
With you, we are going to be talking about security, a lot about the security situation in the Northwest and Southwest region in Cameroon in general. I would want to thank you for honoring us. Yeah, I move back to you, Mr. Alenken, because from the teaser, you heard it there from Promise Akante, political parties, some are active, some are dormant, and some are regional, some are even community, some are village type, when we supposed to see that political parties should be vibrant, should be in the field, canvassing for people to register, because from their members that will register, maybe they will be projecting the type of seats, how they can win the election. Why is it that in Cameroon, after elections like this, we no longer see political rallies, we no longer see political parties in the front line, except from few months to election period?
I think the government in place has designed it so. Most of the parties that exist are created by the ruling party, the CPDM, and
how possible?
And those parties, they exist thanks to the CPDM. When the CPDM eats on the high table, the crumbs fall down.
That is a very strong allegation.
They pick the remains, and those remains cannot sustain them throughout the different periods. Because normally, Parliament, the SDF in Parliament for some years was asking the government to bring up a bill to put in place the position of opposition parties in Cameroon. If these parties had a legal position in such a way that they too can obtain the same finances throughout the year, throughout all the periods like the CPDM is having and her friends, then I think we can talk of, or can accuse some parties of not being able to function after elections. We are in an economy that is actually very poor. Most of the political parties leaders don't even have the means. Most of the political parties don't even have the structures where they can raise money from. If you see that the councils already are too poor, how many councils are having farms or plantations where they can raise money on their own? Or what the councils they depend on traders in the market to raise 50 francs per market selling play and the rest. You find that our political parties are still to have the stamina that it demands for them to be able to run 12 on 12. That means every month for during the inter-election period. So it is very difficult, and you find that equally in Cameroon, the private sector is not motivated. Everything is about government, and only those who are in government circles can have government contracts, can have government to survive, and all those who are having those contracts are what we call uniform militants of the CPDM. They claim to belong to the CPDM to have those contracts. Those are the only avenues from where people can have money to sponsor such big structures. Without, in principle, politics itself, a party does not give you money. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's an association of people instead of contribute.
Yes, it does not give you money. If you dream that you form a party to become rich, you are many lying. If a political party is unable to produce an activity that can sustain it, then another way to reach. Because normally in the English sense of it, when you go to the English country, you find that there are very few parties. And those few parties, they gather many militants. And then the militants who may be in their millions, for example, if there were 4 parties in Cameroon, or 5 or 6, those parties could run 7 on 7, 12 on 12, year in, year out. Because if there were 5 parties which are very big. So
you are like saying that for our political parties to be effective, they need to reduce the number.
We will need first of all to reduce the number, because the number of the parties will permit those that will exist to have enough militants who can contribute in terms of party contributions, in terms of buying the cards, in terms of buying party gadgets. How many parties in Cameroon are selling gadgets? None. Even the CPDM that claims to be the main party those who are rich, those are the ministers.
Are they claiming to be the main party?
No, they claim.
No,
the CPDM does not have real militants. They don't have real militants. Very few parties cannot have real militants. I mean, those who are militants of the party because they want to be militants. Others are there for circumstances. So that is the reason why you find that during this inter period, those parties cannot function because they don't have the financial means. Okay. How many of them even have vehicles? You see, how many of them even have secretariats? You can count them. Just those that maybe have been to parliament, like the CDU, the SDF, UNDP, and a few others. The rest, they function on papers and in their handbags.
Now, Mr. Fuller, yes. Why is it working for the CPDM? You people are always in the field. You people have a secretariat. Do you people do contribution in your party, but we see people are still carrying out their activities? Why is it working so well for the CPDM party?
You know, we are a proactive.
Is it the fact that you people are in the government, you people at one point in time use the government machinery to influence your party activities?
No, at all, Abel. We are a proactive party, a serious party. You know that every serious party has two objectives. First of all, to conquer the power, and then to manage it. So we received the strong instruction from our national president, His Excellency Mr. Paul Biya, to make a kind of permanent dynamic within the party. So we are not sleeping. That's why we have so many results. And other political party, if I can call them like that, they are sleeping, quietly sleeping. And they are waiting the day of the market in order to go and feed the fowl. No, they will never succeed like that.
But some people accuse the CPDM party that you use your government position, give letter of instruction to all directors right up to the level of a classroom teacher to become automatical members of the party, and sometimes you people create what we call elites, and it is this elite that they use some of the government funds to go back to organize some of this rally, to make sure that call for journalists to film them so that the hierarchy of the party should be able to see them. They say if you remove the CPDM party from the government, people cannot carry out any activities for the next 5 to 7 years.
They are always accusing us. Always. Why there is a
Is that what you are doing?
No. When there is a rain, it's the fault of the CPDM. When there is no rain, the CPDM, a power call, the CPDM, so many things. You cannot satisfy your woman in your home, the fault of the CPDM. No, you know, as I told you, Abel, we are even within our party, we are disappointed by the level of, how can I say, the level of the laziness of this so-called political party. You know, a real opposition is also in some country, when you have a real opposition, that make the ruling party, the government, to do more effort. But here, you don't have a position here. You have some jokers, political jokers. They're making some noise, noise up and down. That's all. They are quietly sleeping. They are waiting the eve of the market day. But for us, we used to compare our local opposition to the real opposition in other countries. You was abroad, you travel abroad. You went to Nigeria, in South Africa, in Senegal, other countries. Consider the kind of position we have there, their level of patriotism, how they are working there. But here we have
does the law permit them to be in work?
Our jokers, our national jokers.
No, does the law permit them to be in work?
The point is that the civilian will kill anybody who is trying to correct them.
The point is the law. You know, can
a party organize a rally in Cameroon?
I will learn by saying in some country, neighboring country. I can take the example of Liberia, Sierra Leone, Namibia, and so on. The opposition win the election organized by the ruling party at
in Gambia.
The government in Gambia. You have there a real opponent. Those who are patriotic, those who are there to do their job. But when you have sleepers, jokers, what do you expect? We will stay there 100 years. Okay. Nothing will happen to us. We don't have an opposition here. I didn't come here. I didn't come here to insult them, but what we are
and they are not even here. We brought you here because you are the CPD is the ruling party. It is a debate that we want to look out of the political hemisphere. That is why we didn't bring in political parties. We want to examine it. So that is why we needed somebody to be able to answer the number of accusations that they can be given to the government part of it. I think this SMS says that
working.
It's a good evening.
There's a difference between the CPDM and the other political party.
We shall be finding out from those who are observing the political scene. It's a good evening. First of all, I wish to appreciate Mr. Fuller for his usual good contribution by not allowing anyone to insult Cameroon government, which is very legal under Paul Biya, who remains the best in Africa. I therefore encourage Mr. Fuller not to allow anything against a legal government. Take note that I'm not a CPDM militant, but I stand for the truth and integrity of Cameroon. I am a Kembi Promise militant of the SNC party in the northwest region, and promise you and I have a rendezvous to surely come to the studio and talk about. Now, to me, Gilbert, I want to find out from you, because when we try to investigate, when we try to talk with political parties, the excuse they give us is that we can easily criticize them for not being active, for being community parties, for being regional parties. But what we fail to understand that there are other issues that we cannot see clearly. You observe the political scene. What account for the fact that the CPDM is rapidly in the field, the others are only trying to put in place? Is it the fact that it is very difficult for them to obtain maybe authorization from the senior divisional officers to be able to organize mass rally, or maybe they lack the finances to organize mass rally? What really account for all this stuff?
Thank you for this very pertinent question, Mr. Abel. Before I answer the question, I want to buttress something Mr. Lemken said. And buttressing it, I will say that it is very easy to create a political party in Cameroon than to open an enterprise that can employ maybe 50 persons. The issue is that the regime in place know that there are hungry people outside. And by the time you manifest interest that you want to create a political party, they facilitate the creation of that political party so that they can in turn absorb it. That is why you see some of the parties that even contested during the presidential elections of 2018 are actively holding positions in government. And it will be unheard of to see a minister working under the regime to criticize that regime. Because
in political development, they say it is participatory development in politics. So
well, the rule,
government of a coalition, means everybody to share power.
The rule of a political or an opposition political party is to constantly oppose the government in place, not because they want
opposing the government without showing the people the lead way. Is that opposition?
Yeah, coming up with other contrary ideas. But that is not what we see, because if I say I oppose you and I come to work with you, then it is not real, because opposing you means that it doesn't necessarily mean that everything you do is wrong. I may see with you in certain aspects, but to come now to work with you means that you have convinced me that what I had as opposition ideas have been taken into consideration. Because if I want to cite an example from the contribution somebody from the FSNC party has just said, who is their president? Their president is Issa Chiroma. Do you think that within this time, the FSNC can go out and begin to canvass and talk about certain things in this country? It will be detrimental because the next day, their chairman of the party will be sacked from the government. And so, that is one of the reasons why when elections are over.
Let's take this caller. Hello? Good afternoon to you. This is Nestor.
Yeah, this is Nestor.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That's a very good topic today, which I will contribute to tell you that we have so many parties that we know them during elections and strengthen me when they need something to fill in their pockets. After that, you don't more see them. You see the party that exists, like the SDF, the party of Kamto, and the ruling party which corrupt the entire Cameroon. Which corrupt.
Corrupt how?
Again, which corrupt. Because
How?
I heard somebody crying today, this morning, that the government is saying that there is scam in Northwest and Southwest. Meanwhile, people are crying in Ginicom this morning because of the military. And every day they say there is peace, there is peace. We want them to tell us where actually the CPDM is struggling to calm down the tension or to teach the people that forget and forgive. This is what we are going to do to you people. Don't go and borrow money all along and you talk over the air. I mean, you look at the regime that is right now. You borrow billions to complete the stadium. What is happening with the first contractor? Do you pay him? What is wrong that the second contractor, they are striking there again? There are so many points to touch, which is being caused by the ruling party, CPDM. I want Dr. Foda, when you go, you check when you are talking to us listeners and the Anglophones. Please think about it very well and you talk, you go straight to the point, you educate us, you calm down the tensions that the Anglophone are having here in Cameroon.
We got
Good
you.
afternoon. I'll be back.
We got to your point, Nestor. Yes.
Okay.
Man, you are running up.
Yes. Before Nestor came in, I was just trying to say that we will not expect anything much from the so-called opposition political parties.
Yeah.
Because they are not opposition political parties. The right term that we may need to use for them should be complementary political parties to the ruling government, because they are not opposing, they are complementing what the ruling government is doing. That is why when they are absorbed, they sit quiet.
We saw the SDF at one point came up with shadow cabinet of ministers appointing members to be shadow cabinet. But it yielded no fruit because the people do not feel the impact on the field. That is the stuff.
Yes.
And that is a clear picture of our opposition parties that we have. But in other countries, we see periods like this. You see, they go what we call educational talk, where they use the opportunity to educate the militant on the manifesto of the party, to buy the vision of the party. That is where you see we have, like Mr. Lenke was talking about, the fact that we don't have militants of parties these days. And the militantism of the party stems from the fact that most of them don't even know the manifestos of the party. So don't you think that accusing the government without looking at what the opposition themselves is doing from the creation of the party is a serious problem, gentlemen?
Let me just come in to say that for the SDF that you have cited, you
are not a member of the SDF. I'm not attacking you as the SDF. We are just
yes, I'm not a member of any political party.
Yes,
yes, I'm apolitical. I don't have any political party that I'm actively participating in.
Yeah.
So I'm giving my opinion as a citizen of this country.
Yeah.
To say that the SDF party has been struggling to stand the test of time as far as opposition parties are concerned. But the problem we have in this country is that the machinery that has been put in place does everything possible to stifle the efforts of real opposition parties, to the extent that you see at one point those who stood very strong behind the parties start boycotting or start resigning. We have seen it, and it will interest you if I remind you that there was one time the Minister of Territorial Administration went as far as appointing the chairperson of an opposition political party, as if to say an opposition political party has become a part of the government, or it is a tool in the hand of the government that they can use it at will and do whatsoever thing.
Okay.
So those are some of the bottlenecks that opposition parties go through. I mean, real opposition parties go through, because those ones that are have already taken positions with the government are not opposition parties. They are complementary parties to the ruling government.
Yeah, frankly, wanted to say something in a few seconds.
I just want to say that political parties in Cameroon are just like, to me, they are just like children playing along the road, playing behind their father. Because look like there are many political leaders
playing along the road behind
their father.
So who is the father?
What I'm saying here is like the ruling party is there. I know a handful of politicians who are in the government, whom when they were appointed into their ministerial posts, I never heard them again. In 2004, I was very happy in Kumu listening to the campaign speech of Issa Chiroma. It was so sweet. He was campaigning alongside Nijon Fundi. But when he came back and was offered a post, he went mute. Now his party is what, to me, I consider them as children of the party.
Okay.
Of which party?
Of CBDM. That's why I said children playing along the road behind their father.
Does the CBDM party form coalition with other political parties?
No.
For them to be able to carry out their activities effectively in the field?
I will surprise you, Abel. First of all, I want to answer to Nesob and say that we are not corrupting. We are not corrupting the whole country.
Yeah.
Those who are members of our party are really militant or really sympathizer, and they trust our party, the CPDM. But I will surprise you, Abel, by saying that the alliance.
So the CPDM can exist after BIA.
Of course, we will exist. The alliance is only in case of presidential elections. I will surprise you, Abel. During the last regional election, you saw by yourself, your political journal, what happened in Adamawa. There was a fight there.
Yeah.
A battle there between the CPDM and the NUDP. They didn't allow us even one post. So, in case of intermediate elections, there are no more alliances.
Okay.
But in the alliances
is only at the level
of the
presidential election.
But I also want to say to the member of the so-called opposition.
No, opposition party. We should remove the word so-called.
You are the one who called them opposition party. Since for us, they are, how can I say? I don't know whether they are jokers or dreamers or something like that.
Okay.
You know, when we're talking about a country,
yes,
you have to be serious. You have to have ambitions. Okay. You have to be very courageous. As I tell you that in other country, in neighboring country, the opposition won the election with the text
and
the rules.
If they are effective.
Okay. If they are courageous, if they are serious, as I tell you that, you know, but politics field is not, I can say, a joking place. We will stay there 100 years, 1,000 years.
Nothing will happen
till the day we have a serious opposition in this country.
Okay. Now, there is last question that I want to ask. Everybody will give his own opinion. If we want to make our opposition to be that vibrant, for us to feel them, so that we accomplish what we talk about, political development of the country, where the opposition or political parties are there to develop the mindset of the people, to accompany the people in their community development. If we want to make our own political parties in Cameroon to be that exemplary political parties in the African sub-region, and why not the African continent in general, what will be that ingredients that we need to add? I'll begin with you, Franklin.
I would pray that the leading party should give the opposition party a room to talk. Because the reality in Cameroon is when you oppose the ruling
But they have the room to talk.
They give the room to talk when you talk to favor them. When you are against them, they kill you. That's why a political party cannot organize a rally in Cameroon anyhow. Go to a deal today, they want to organize a rally in your area. He will turn you around, and waste all your time. The reason is because they don't want you to say something that will be against.
But if they had a head office, they can hold their meeting within the law permits them to organize their meeting within their headquarters, organize their meeting and all the like without even necessarily demanding.
Headquarters has no problem, but what about a rally? A rally is something where you go out to meet the people directly, you talk to the people directly, you tell them your own ambitions about your party. But try that thing in Cameroon, the jail will sign it off because everyone working in the administration is CPDN.
Okay. Jimmy.
Yes.
Let's take this caller. He wants to give his own opinion. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, please.
Yeah. May we know who is calling?
Not getting you well, please.
May we know who is calling, sir? Your name?
My point.
We are not getting you, sir. The connection is having a serious problem. Can you adjust your line and call us?
Yes, please.
Yeah, just turn off your radio and maybe call us.
My radio is off.
Okay, go ahead. Your name?
Yes. My name is Roland Quincy, teacher.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Quincy.
Yes. So I'm calling to give my contribution. Say on this topic, on the topic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So I want to say that most Cameroon counts today over 300 political parties, you know that, and most of these parties were created with the intention that to pollute or to confuse Cameroonians. And then the ruling party has been using these political parties to their advantage. We saw recently the recent minister delegate at the Ministry of Justice, Jean Momo Didier, who had no council, no parliamentarian, nothing. We saw where the fact that he is a political party owner, where he was projected. He was projected there because he was a family kid, because he's a family kid man. He was projected there to go against Mr. Kamto. So political parties are created, for selfish purposes. Not just that, for a political party to function 24 on 24 is very difficult in Cameroon. Because you see, this issue of declaring manifestations, the 1990 law under the freedom of associations and political parties, makes it very difficult for political parties to express themselves.
Okay.
We noticed the 25th, that's the March of September, where MRC militants were locked up. I think some of them are still in jail till date as we are talking. And I think that does not give a level playing ground to them and to the CPDM, because we know that those who are called
Mr. Quincy,
these authorizations
Mr.
are
Quincy?
like members of the CPDM. They are the Jews. It's like you are playing a football match with someone, and then the referee is a member of one of the teams.
Mr. Quincy.
Yes, please.
I discovered that you have a lot when it comes to this topic. This was just a teaser. Can we arrange for an appointment for you to be able to give us a lot of insight on this issue?
Okay, please. I'll be yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, Gilbert, you had the floor.
Wonderful program.
Thank you, Mr. Quinty. And the question just slipped.
Yeah, what can we do to better our political parties in Cameroon? They should be offensive. They should be active. They should be agile in the field to be able to accompany the local man in the political development of this nation.
The first thing is that the procedures for the creation of opposition political parties should be looked into. When I say it should be looked into, it means that you must fulfill all the conditions that an opposition political party needs to fulfill before you are given authorization.
Which are some of them?
One glaring condition is that you must have representatives in all the 10 regions. I mean, people signatories, people who will sign. But we know the country is what it is, and procedures are put in place, and people forge documents. Because if people do not forge documents, how will you explain the fact that opposition political parties turn out to be regional, turn out to be family parties? Meanwhile, in one of their conditions, it was that I don't know the number in each region. Maybe Paralem Keng will help us. There is a particular number of signatures that you have to have in a region to make up a political party, meaning that when you have those representatives in all those regions, you are now qualified with to other reasons, conditions to create a political party. But what obtains, like I said it is very easy to create a political party in Cameroon, which will go nowhere, than to open an enterprise that will employ jobless youth. I mean, an enterprise that can employ up to about 500 jobless youth.
Even 10 is fine.
Yes. So, but a political party which will turn around to sing the praises of the ruling government is given the authorization more quickly than an enterprise which can employ people. So, what I'm saying is that when people come up with opposition political parties for the creation, they should make sure that the conditions that have been put in place are well met before they grant authorization. And this issue of people, somebody will sleep at night and dream that he's the president of Cameroon and go forward to come and say that when I look at some of the candidates, me sitting here, I can make a good representation more than some of them. Some of them look like wine tappers, and they want to say that they want to rule Cameroon. There are qualities that people need to meet before they grant them the authorization to create a political party. Not children. You see children who are not even who cannot even manage their household. Their wife in the house is more than them. They stand and they put the background of the Unity Palace behind and begin to say that 2025 I will enter here. To do what? Have you managed your home? And all of these things caused by the government. Because when I see such an individual, I know that they have they have granted it because they know that it is one of the complementary parties to the ruling government.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Lincoln, what should be done?
I think at this level, for us to have vibrant political parties that can help in the development of our society, the first thing is that the government has to create a legal environment that will favor all the parties. I think there is no need today, even in Cameroon, to create a party.
That is it.
There's virtually no need, because already
we need to do some
as Transmarco says in the Republic Book 2, that the law is for the interest of the stronger party. In Cameroon, all the laws have been made to fit the CPDM. You know, the CPDM has been power for 38 years, and then they know the in and out. They are like the old brooms that can sweep every corner of Cameroon. And I think until the CPDM will fall, it will be very difficult for us Cameroonians to be able to have parties that will be vibrant, because the very first thing that makes a party to be vibrant, that are the finances. And now the government in place makes such a way that every person in Cameroon, from the rank of chief of service to the chairman above the directors, should be a militant of the ruling party.
Yes.
When they are going out for election, you find that, or for any activity, you find that they tax all those from the rank of chief of service right up to the chairman of the board of directors to contribute for the ruling party. I think our MPs at one moment need to go to take strong laws to stop all this intricacy. And then you find that the senior DOs, not even the DOs, what we call our civil administrators, they are all equally another arm of the ruling party. Because even at CPD meetings, you find that the DO is dressed up at times in party uniform. He comes to, he sit down in the grandstand, the read speeches, and he's also clapping. He himself takes part in campaigning for people to come for the meeting and the rest.
Maybe I think he's just doing the role like the chef there.
I think we need a legal framework that guarantees equal justice for everybody. And whenever there is a party that comes up that may have the means, you see the tide of fire that always against them. You find that for the past 1 year now, 1.5 years, the CPD militants have been using the name of Camto and CRM as their
Joker card.
As a Joker card. Everywhere they go, you find they invade all media platform, and whenever they are given the floor, the first person they call is Camto or his men, and they use it. And
does that contribute in any way to the political development theory that we have, that political parties help their community to develop? When we say contrary,
it's a big contrary, because at the tail end, when we move now within the political party to development, you find that development is not forthcoming in. Why? One, all the councils are run by the CPDM, and you know what is the CPDM? The CPDM is arrogance. The CPDM is corruption. The CPDM is brutality. That is what sustains them. Because there is apparently
been too hard on the CPDM.
It's not been too hard. Apparently, there is no great difference between the state of Cameroon and the CPDM as a political party. Okay. If the state of Cameroon exhibit arrogance from its ministers, if the state of Cameroon exhibit brutality from the military, if the state of Cameroon is corrupt in its nature, that is exactly how the party is. And this very phenomenon is transformed to whatever they do, and it is well reflected.
Okay, we got your point. You wanted to say something? We are ending. We are closing this, so we move on to our main topic. So that I take this SMS.
Sincerely talking, I prefer them like that.
Okay.
I will sleep quietly.
Okay.
But if I have, as a teacher, if I have some advice, to give to this so-called,
no, it's not so-called. Give to political parties.
Opposition,
in
quote, I want to tell first of all to do, I am a Bantu man.
Yes.
Our mother used to say to tell us that before going to clean the house of Abel,
first of all clean your house.
First of all, a kind of agenamento, autocritics. There are some serious political party, but at the head of their political party, you have dreamers.
Okay.
You have jokers. Please. I don't want to pronounce a name there.
Yeah.
So first of all, to do a kind of autocritics
for themselves,
and then to go back to school, and then to learn from the real opposition in neighboring country. Mm-hmm. How are they doing? How they prepare themselves? How can they choose a candidate?
Okay.
And then the program.
Okay.
So we have so many work. This opposition have a long way to go.
Thank you, Mr.
And they lack humility.
Thank you.
They are always accusing other people
without accusing
of
themselves.
Everything.
Without accusing themselves.
But for they said they have nothing to blame. All the mistake is other people.
Okay.
It's a CPGM. But you yourself,
we shall come back.
You don't have any program.
We shall talk more.
You don't have any profile.
We shall talk more.
You lack a lack of patriotism.
Okay, that was just.
You don't have a future for our country and even for your own party, and you want to rule this country. These are dreamers.
Okay.
Those guys are jokers.
That is just a teaser, Mr. Fuller. I take this. I strongly reject Mr. Tumi's contribution, who said Chiruma cannot criticize CPDM. Mr. Tumi and the other man is not the other man. Is Franklin should know that if we in FSNC don't criticize, it's because CPDM under Paul Biya has done nothing wrong for now. And if I hear any fake issues or insults against FSNC, which has always respect all Cameroon laws, I think he will face the legal law of this great nation. Can be promised of the FSNC Northwest. I think it's not a matter of facing the laws, because sometimes, like Mr. Fuller says, before you want to clean somebody's house, clean yours. Because when you go to the law, don't be surprised that if you go to the law at times, we are doing a Republican development.
Their greatest weakness.
Okay.
They don't master the law.
Okay.
When you want to organize a rally, first of all, I want to remind them that the only political how can I say, the only political party.
Mr.
It's not only the party.
Okay.
You have so many activities. And if you want to organize a party, you have to master the law. You have the object, you have the time, and then the date.
Okay. We are going to talk about this. But just to say that
not a kilo, so you can do everything without respecting the law, without respecting
all what we are saying in topics and realities end up in the development of the people, because that is our principal target. If your party is doing a lot when it comes to the development of the people, and somebody, those who are feeling it says that we are not feeling it, I strongly believe it's for you to look more into your strategies. That is why the media is there to accompany you to go sometimes, and that is why today we decided that the political party should not come. Let us take the observers, and I strongly believe that listening to what they are saying, and maybe it will help for us to develop this country. As our main topic today, we are going to focus on the recurrent violence in the northern and southwest region. This week, 3 traditional rulers from the BLM division were killed in that part of the country. We equally got killings in the northwest and southwest region. We had a civilian that was tortured in Jew for not providing the brother who is believed to be a separatist fighter. We saw houses being burned, and all this is coming at a time where there is a mass call, or the push for dialogue to take place is in the increase, because of recent we saw the coming of the Secretary of State at the Vatican, who was the personal representative of Pope Francis, who came with a principal mission. And that is why he went to the northwest region to broker peace between the warring factors. But we have seen everything still showing that the crisis is a bit complex, and some people say we should call it, which is already a conflict, the conflict in the northwest and southwest region. Now, Mr. Alenkim, I want to find out from you, what is the issue as of now when we look at the conflict which is taking place in the northern and southwest region? What is the issue that we can gather around this recurrent wave of violence in the northwest region?
What we can say at this moment is that the Anglophone crisis has gone into its second phase. The second phase that we earlier predicted in 2018, that if the government was not careful, we are going to move to a second phase. And actually, and we said at that time that, I said at that time that the second phase was going to be bloodier than the first. You know, when it is gone to gone, it's different. But this time around, the second phase is what we call score settling. And it has its essential characteristics: kidnapping, rampant killing, summary execution, etc. And it's happening from both sides.
But we have seen that one ever since.
Yeah, it is a consequence of the lapses from the government, because the government thought it was a joking matter. When a crisis moved to this level, it is no longer an affair of saying that the military will do this or they should do that.
So after the second phase, that is the end.
No, after the second phase, there's going to be a third phase, and the third phase may carry us into our early graves. The third phase will be that of what the head of state already announced on the 11th of February. He announced about the generational transition. That will be the third phase. After this phase, yes, within the next 9 months, we are moving to it. Because some people sit on chairs and they think that those chairs, God gave them from heaven. This is Cameroon. Every citizen of Cameroon has the right to enjoy the national cake. I was informed 140 years ago.
Is it the problem of governance at this point in time? Or?
The Anglophone problem at this moment is aside. It has been kept aside. The Anglophone problem is still the same as it was in 2016. Whether they offer the Anglophone bench at the Supreme Court in NAM and the rest, the government failed.
Where then is the issue?
The issue now at the moment is that we are now facing the consequences of the government incapacity to solve the problem the way it was supposed to be addressed. When they brought the DDR, we told them that the DDR will not work.
Yeah, go ahead.
We said the DDR won't work because the procedure has not been met. Because we cannot go into the DDR. You go and get people who were married, have children, and bring them into camps. They were sleeping with women in the houses. You catch them, you bring them to camps, and leave them there for 6, 7, 8 months, 1 year, without saying anything. Now, what is taking place now? Kidnapping, rampant killing, and summary execution is what we call, is because the government allowed the crisis to go ahead, and 2 terms were developed: enablers and darkleggers. And whenever those terms come into the guerrilla warfare, because normally the crisis came and the government equally failed to accompany the people living in those zones on how to go about their daily activities. Because normally in a war zone where there's terrorism, if you want to live there, you must dance to the tune of the warlords. We see it in Uganda, we saw it in Angola, etc. There are principles that have to be observed. Once you don't observe it, and we went into what has happened today, there are some people called blacklegs. Now that the government claimed, a government spokesman came up and said, Mr. Abiy has won the war. Meanwhile, things were still too tense and dangerous. Because when they say school is going on, you go to Banda itself, the town itself, you count the schools that are going on. You go to Boya town, you count the number of schools that are going on. Yet we keep on deceiving ourselves. I think for the moment, the kidnapping is Anglophones killing Anglophones. And anybody who wants to govern cannot accept that. And I will stop at the moment by saying that any medical doctor who examines a patient and find out that patient is suffering from malaria, instead of administering malaria drugs on that patient, that doctor goes about administering painkillers. She remove the blues of the doctor and leave the hospital. And that is what the government has done so far.
The issue now, we see at one point in time, we believe that in terms of security, Atomic Gilbert, it was being contained. We saw people dropping down their weapons. We saw the minister coordinating that. We saw young people going to the DDR centers which were created. We saw a lot of movement. We saw a lot of people attesting that life is becoming normal. And we even saw the military took up a phase, they call it Operation Keep Bamenda Clean. And the intention was to push away these separatist fighters to be able
to pushed away
to enable the people carry out their daily activities. In terms of security, when we put all this, but we still discover that security is still a point of concern. Somebody told me that if you are coming to Bamenda, the first thing is that when you move with the 7 senses, because one of the highest word, and that is when I started thinking that you said, when you told me that experts in security and vigilance, it says we are more vigilant in the northwest region these days than even being vigilant with our own personal life, our own personal activities. That when we move, when we move in the streets these days, we walk with a lot of sense. The security aspect of it, why the recurrent of these new waves of insecurity in the part of the northwest and southwest region?
Abel, if we were to really analyze the security situation in the northwest and southwest in terms of security knowledge, it will surprise you that we'll write a book.
Okay.
For instance, I am with the private security. It doesn't suffice for me to run to your residence and place a security guard because you have come to my office asking for a security guard. There are procedures that I take, and when I take the procedures and suggest to you that do this, and do this before I come with my security guard, and you are not convenient with it, I don't post. Not because I don't need your money, but because I know that when I post in the next 1 week, you will come complaining that an item is missing in your house. So what do? We do what is called security assessment and recommendations. There is a lot of make-believe when it comes to the security situation in Northwest and Southwest.
But isn't that the security strategies also to uphold the people to continue to believe in the system? Can you come and tell somebody that the security is already down?
The issue is that people, those our ministers who think that they can fool people, have failed, because you will not come and alight from an armored car and you tell me that, please beat fear and come out, beat fear and go around with your activities, and at the end of the day you enter back into the armored car and go and leave me alone. And the same security you have left with me, they are not protecting me, because if you look at what is going on, you see that at one point in time, those boys, the boys.
No, let's use the word boys.
Okay. The security.
Because we have children that are listening to us.
Good. The security we have in Northwest and Southwest, if you look critically, you see that at one point they are fed up with fighting.
They are tired.
They are tired because they don't know what they are defending. If you want to think that the activities that they do is not intentional and to show that they are tired, tell me what will prompt a so-called professional military.
It's not a so-called professional military.
They are not professional. If they are professional, what transpired in Du would not have happened, because there are rules that we take to source out information from a suspect.
And what are some of those rules? Can you share with us?
You must not necessarily use torture. You can take and go. Sometimes you even give the person the best treatment. Make the person your friend.
Just to have
you cajole the person. And at the end of the day, the guy could have even maybe said where the brother is.
Without even knowing.
Without even knowing. Because at this point in time, when the machete started landing on his back and on his feet, he knew that he is between life and death. And he has already said, I don't know. And the highest thing is to maintain, I don't know. Because if you turn back and say, wait now, let me say it, on top of the pains that you are feeling, you are not even sure whether they will not continue, because they have done it. And on another dimension, when you see just this video, it tells you that there are other worse activities, there are other dangerous activities that the military are undertaking in the Northwest and the Southwest, which have not been filmed. Maybe at the time they were perpetrating the act, their phones were not charged. Maybe at the time they were perpetrating the act, there was nobody within them to even film it and show to us, because it is thanks to some bad chance whatsoever that this other video of the torture of this guy in Du came out. We could not still have known, but it would have been that it has happened.
Okay.
That is why when we hear speeches, people say we have the best military, we have this. I look at it. If it is the best military, and if the military is professional, then what they are doing is a sign to tell the government that we are fed up with fighting, because a professional will not do what they are doing.
Okay.
I can even, if I were to join the military today, I will be a trainer. I will not go and hold a gun. I will be a trainer. And I will be more better than those generals who move in sophisticated cars here in town.
Thank you. We got your point. I take this SMS. It says, for the killings in the Northwest and Southwest region by separatist terrorists, I wish to separatist terrorists. This is an English program. Separatist terrorists, I wish to tell the Amber Amber Boys that the government is handling former Ambers well, and he says well, and the former Ambers terrorist Nambere even confirmed that they are treated well.
Is he the DDR? That man, who is that man? Is the Nambere in any of the DDR?
As a truthful militant of the FSNC, I wish to encourage all separatist terrorists to drop their guns and come to the government. Come to the government DDR center. I strongly believe. Yeah, he says the message is incomplete. Now, when he say it is not complete and drop and come to the government because Atanganji and Fayungu Francis are making sure that any repentant Amber is treated well. I'm promise Kami FNNC Northwest region. Now, Franklin, when you look at the nature in
ABEL, there is some misinformation in that message which I want you to correct. Nambare is in none of the DDR centers.
It's not.
So if he is claiming that he came out and said that he's being treated well, he should tell us which of the centers he is. Is he in the Northwest? Is he in Buya or in Marwa?
Yeah,
because those are the three DDR centers that we have. He is in none of them. Okay. So people came out in Buya. The PM sent money there. They were calm. People came out in Bamenda. Money was also sent there. They are calm. So where is Nambere?
We are going to talk intensively about the DDR center. I'm still doing a lot of investigation and research. Yesterday I was discussing with some guys in Boya, and I strongly believe they will join us one day in this studio to tell us we are still working on the modalities. So I don't want to comment more on it, because when you look at the DDR center, there is something we call in conflict resolution, Mr. Lincoln, the key stakeholders who play the dominant role for the conflicts not to end. There are some people which are struggling to put it. So it's an investigative story we are going to come up. But Franklin, I want to focus on you. When we look at the recurrent issue, especially with the killings that are taking place now at this point in time, what is your reading? Are you giving? What message is it that they're trying to pass across?
As Alem King already said over there, that we are in the second phase of the crisis. All this is due to negligence. And to be candid with you, for everything to stop in Cameroon right now is very difficult, because most of those boys with those guns in the bush, they are not educated. When you want to tell them anything reasonable, they attack you black leg. It has even come to the reason. It was somehow around one Saturday that I saw a video of a minister, one of the separatist leaders. He was condemning the guys, his own creation. He condemned them that their actions are not more good, simply because they had to kidnap his own brother and asshole. Ekanga. Yeah. Because they kidnapped the brother and they were asking him to give them 2.5 million. He felt bad, but when they kidnapped my own brother and asked for 6 million, it concerned him. It was not anything that concerned him. But before this, I repeat it, the government of Cameroon has neglected it. Up to the level that the world is classifying the Anglophone crisis as the most neglected crisis the world has ever seen.
Okay.
So if the government should take its responsibility by going back to what Anglophones were asking for in November 2016, they will solve this issue. They should stop pretending like
they
want to create this one.
Done a lot.
A lot is not enough.
Okay.
A lot is not enough. What has been done? They started by creating the Commission of Bilingualism and whatever thing. Nothing has been done. They have created a Tasson commission. They are still killing people. We need peace first. And for that peace to come, it means go back and do what was being asked for.
I want to say that ABEL falls under the group of people who are being taken away by what the government is doing. In good English, they call it red herrings. Red herrings is leaving the main thing and chasing the shadow. That is doing something to make believe.
Camouflage.
Yes, camouflage. Yeah. It's a borrowed word, I think. So what ABEL is calling, like government has done so many things, is a camouflage. Is leaving the main object and chasing the shadow.
The main issue is on the floor.
If you are talking about the main issue, I know that the next thing you will start doing here, you will start talking about commissions that have been created. Which, if I intend ask you to tell me what...
you yourself earlier, you talk about the DDR center.
It is not, it's of no use. I'm talking about it because it is there. I'm not talking about it because it has solved one problem. It has not.
It has even created more problems.
If not, then why is it? Because the issue is, I'm tempted to think that those that have been put in the DDR centers were ambas, were special ambas. If not, why would?
But there are some who are working in power status.
Yes, so that's why I'm saying that, Abel. I am convinced, and until proven otherwise, that those in the DDR centers are special ambas, are not the real ambas. Because if they were real ambas, that the government would give a clarion call. The government, I know, will give a clarion call that people who have killed military, people who have destroyed state emblems, stood on the flag of the country, marched and paraded, come to a place and be forgiven. And you come there, and instead of being humble and say that I am sorry for my sins, you have the guts to march. And as if that is not enough, the same government that has called you from the forest is rushing to beg you that way, no make noise. Then there is a problem. There is a big question mark.
Okay.
Please, Abel, I didn't talk. I don't know whether it's a one-man show or you invite your friend. I belong to the ruling party.
Yes.
You know, we have...
Can I ask you the question I wanted to ask you before you interrupted me?
Okay, please, go ahead.
Okay. We are witnessing another phase. The killing of 3 traditional rulers in the southwest region, in the BLM. The BLM that will know is a no-go zone. Is the government making its way through that part of the country?
Abel, first of all, before asking properly to your question concerning the BLM, I want to give some information to our listener. First of all army in the world, all army have 3 objectives, 3 missions. All army. First of all, the integrity of the country. We don't joke about whatever can be your grievances. When you are a threat to the territorial integrity of the nation, you will face the army.
Not the police.
I'm talking about the army.
Okay.
An army is a whole.
Okay.
A whole organization. You have there the police and gendarme and
okay, can we say the security force?
Yes.
Men in law and order.
These are their main objective. Whatever can be your grievances. We don't joke. This country are already been divided 4 times. 4 times. This country. 4 times. Oh, no country in the world can allow a fifth division. No country at all. Then, talking about the chiefs. The chiefs were kidnapped and killed by a terrorist leader. He called himself Field Marshal. We know the reason.
But for a very long time, they said they have not seen field marshals. Even the military was hunting.
He was they were kidnapped.
They say he has escaped and went to Nigeria. How managed did he come when
they was kidnapped and killed by this terrorist leader?
Okay.
Field Marshal.
How do you know?
Talking about now the civilian, as they call it, the civilian who was tortured in Do. You know the difference. What we used to. One of the reports we used to do to our brothers and sisters some of our brothers and sisters, mainly the Northwest. You know, in the far North region and even now in the East region, nobody is talking about the East region. The East region now is even worse than the Northwest nowadays in the East region. But the population are collaborating. The population are giving information to the army, to the police. This guy, his own brother is a terrorist gang. His own brother. And you want to tell that you don't know anything. Your own brother is killing people. He's doing so many atrocities. And you don't know anything. And now, we talk about some of the measures done by the government.
Please, allow me. When it was howling a while ago, I didn't interrupt you. Please.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr.
I'm very
nobody's
now talking about the measures done by this government.
Yeah.
The government has done so much. Even for us Francophone, the government has done more than the S. We have the first problem with Boko Haram in the Far North region, in the S region. The head of state has done more for the Anglophone than the other region. Those who even elected him. The head of state has been elected.
So the Anglophones do not elect the head of state?
I want to say that, we have the pictures. To those who elected, those who participated mainly to the election of the head of state are coming from the northern part of the country.
Not the people of the north.
Please. No, I want to say, I have the pictures. I want to say that to be elected head of state, you have a number of voice you must have. The most of the voice come from the northern party, the northern part of the country, the east and the south.
Yeah.
But what the head of state done there? You have, how can I say, a special reconstruction plan. You have, if I can list, a branch in the Supreme Court, the houses in the NAM, the houses of chief. You have a special status. Yeah, and now even you have a regionalization there. Though you have a native there, who are the head of the executive council, who will manage the problem of their own region, the natives. You have the chief, you have the municipal councillor, both in the northwest and in the southwest. You have an amount of money given there to them in order to solve their own problem. In the village of the head of state, nowadays, they don't have light. The village of the head of state. But they are quiet. You take the guns.
Caused by Anglophones?
Please.
If they don't have light, is this caused by Anglophones?
Then it's not a good elite.
Let's not use the word Anglophones or Francophone.
When you are
taking light in his village, it's not a good elite.
Let's not use those words.
It's not a good elite.
I want to, the worst mistake you can do.
Yeah.
When you are taking the guns against your country.
Okay.
According to me, you don't have any apologies to have.
Okay.
I will land by saying that the head of state had done a lot. This government had done a lot for our brothers and sisters, both to the northwest and the southwest. It even go forward than the other region, according to us. I will say that's for now. Some of us are looking for the Ethiopian solution. We face this kind of problem in Ethiopia.
Okay.
And you see how
and Cameroon is not like Ethiopia. So
please.
No,
please. No,
Mr. Fuller, I'm
you are learning.
I will come back to you, Mr. Fuller.
You are learning
Mr.
from other countries.
Mr. Fuller,
Ethiopia is
Mr.
more
Fuller,
decentralized.
Mr. Fuller, I will come back to you. Thank you for respecting those who are listening to us. I will come back to you when we are going to be talking about our solution. But Mr. Fuller raised something which is very pertinent, and I want us to diagnose it, because that is the root and remote causes that we still have this conflict going and coming back, and they are the key stakeholders in this crisis. He said the head of state have done a lot to those regions. He has given in money. He has given them special status. He has given them this.
Regional councillor.
Now, the question I want to ask:
the DGR, Commission of Bilingualism, the recruitment of teachers at Enam, a special branch at Enam.
Thank you for elaborating.
It is nothing for them.
Thank you very much.
They are looking from the paradise.
Okay. Can I continue? Thank you. Now, from all this, he expects that
the crisis for an Ethiopian solution.
The crisis must have come to an end at this point in time. We are not going to go for the Ethiopian solution that you are struggling to put across, because all what we are looking is for solutions that we end this crisis. We cannot continue to kill people because it will not help. It can only push to what Mr. Lincoln was telling of the third phase, which is the intergenerational, which is going to be more complex, and that is not what we want. We want to a possible stuff. But I want to find out, all of us, let us cross-examine. If he has done those things and peace is not forthcoming, it means there are some hidden hands on both sides of the coins who are bent of making sure that this process does not go through, so that they can continue to feed fat from it. To be able to have more opportunity to have the appointment in different commissions that will be created, maybe today or future, maybe to have opportunity to manage some of the monies that will be given to them.
We lost a young captain.
Can we identify
a young captain?
Can we identify some of these hidden hands,
his first port of
that have decided that the crisis should not have a solution?
Mr. Abel, I want to tell you that in 2019, I think in the end of this speech, the president brought another word into our vocabulary, and the other word was warmongers. At that moment, when he spoke, we thought the warmongers were found in some celestial heaven somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yes. But as the war has progressed, 2-3 years after another defeat year, simple analysis tell us that we cannot keep on pointing fingers to those abroad, claiming that they are the ones who are the one piloting the affairs of piloting disorder on the field. When the head of state said warmongers, today we have understood that the warmongers are those who benefit from war economy, and consequently, it is very clear now within our own milieu that within us here in Cameroon, there are some invisible hands who are masterminding this crisis, that it should prolong, so that they continue to benefit from the fallout. I take another simple example. When you saw what happened at the Falaise at Chang, we are still to know from where that fuel came from.
The fire?
No, the fuel that was being transported. You know, when we allowed, they say in preaching that when you take hand, you carry intestine, you don't carry shit. The government has allowed so many things to happen on grounds that many of them are not willing to unseat their seats or unseat themselves. What is clear is that nature is moving closely, and the problem that have landed us into this situation is the fact that some generations are missing in the sharing of the national cake. That one is very clear. Some of Cameroon generation are missing in the sharing of the national cake. You find that at the level of the political parties, people are refused access to power. At the level of elections, people are refused access to power. And then, the few who have been declared elites, either through appointments or by virtue of the fact that they occupy some government offices and they have at least a rank of chief of services, have decided to take this for their hands, take authority into their hands. And since the government in place plus the civilian themselves, they are engaged in what we call power conservation, and they want to be there for 70 years, 80 years, 100 years, we are bound to find ourselves in this situation. They should not feel that.
So what are you purporting as solution?
I'm saying that if the CPDM still wants to stay in power, they have all the time, they have as a duty now to seek for urgent solution to the problem. Because now, this second,
like bringing a commission of reconciliation?
Yeah, exactly, because this second phase now is a security phase. It's no longer what they were talking about, the bench in Enam. This is a security phase. And it is very complicated. Whether you are an army general, whether you are a senior DO, you know that there are areas where the DOs don't stay there, no? When it comes to security issues, each and every one of us must know that to have an end to it is only through dialogue. There is no force. Nothing of saying that you will use this number of generals, this number of police. They are all us. Mr. Fuller even made an error here. They tell us that anybody who take guns against his country, the army should crush him. The primary aim of the army is not to fight its own citizens. No army is created and trained to fight its own citizens. No.
They talk about Amazonia.
Yeah, the army cannot fight its own citizens. Once an army begins, if the state start using the army,
where were they trained?
I mean the state, if the bills are being used to fight their own citizens, that is where the first order came from. Because the boys went into the bushes because the government decided to use the bill. And the B is the last grade of our security forces. And those that type of military men ought to have been used.
Let's focus on how to repair the situation. Let's not focus on what's already
how to repair the situation.
Yeah.
The answer is simple. Back to the drawing board, inclusive dialogue. no more, no less. And all the elites must first of all they throw away the arrogance. The elites of the English regions.
So the elites are one of the key factors.
The elites are of the two English regions. They are 60% into the problem now because of the arrogance and the way they have treated the issue. Because if they were together and they stood firm behind the head of state and tell him, Mr. President, we feel that our people are asking for inclusive dialogue. Please call for it. This is on our neck. Because in the long run, the Anglophone elites are going to suffer. And that will be the third phase. They are going to be the losers in the third phase. If they don't know.
Okay. We take some SMS here before we continue. It says that greetings is coming from Baiwe Ubasi. Say greetings. There is a lot of side taking and subjective analysis going on amongst the participants in the studio. Mr. Fuller should stop that Southern and West Cameroon are one. The language alone prove that. So stop the killing. Stop the killing. That's what is in Biobase. Says that, and another one is coming from here. He says that the truth is that there are attacks in the northwest and southwest regions by separatists, but there is no war in those regions. No, because the military, which is professional, has never faced Amber in any war, because His Excellency Paul Biya, who is the chief of legal armed forces, don't want to shed blood. Everybody knows that it can cost the military just 10 minutes to eliminate those terrorists who continue killing civilians and military. Amber boys have last chance to repent and drop their guns. This is coming from a promise. FSNC Northwest coordinator. He's the one saying. And my problem is they are stakeholders, because this week I learned that there are some people who go behind and says that if you call them war merchant, warmongers, merchants, they are coming now very strong to talk to some of these boys. For example, let me take a clear example: the DDR saga that occurred in Bamenda, when the Prime Minister gave I think 3 million, because the money was 4 million. 1 million was for their upkeep, 3 million was for the boys in Boya, and somebody, I like the word you said, elite, move and told those ones in Bamenda that you people are sleeping. Go down to the street. If not so, those in Boya, with everything, and you people will be nowhere to be found. This created a serious scenario, and we saw the guys on the street. Last words, Mr. Chumigibe, what should we do at this point in time? We are moving out of the
regime in place should not think that they have monopoly of knowledge.
Okay.
The regime in place should not think that they can impose a ready-made solution. The regime in place is called upon to revisit the cupboard and take out all the suggestions that were given within the time, beginning with what the consortium started and so on, coming right to what the Christian community gave, and coming right to what the other political parties suggested, like for instance what the SDF suggested as federation. Okay. So they should revisit the cupboard and take out all suggestions that were given and resolve this crisis once and for all.
Thank you very much. Franklin, this is just a week of it. We have other structures that we'll be talking about the program, and I hope maybe next week we are still going to be together. Mr. Lincoln, thank you for coming today. We have not even explored everything that we were supposed to do today. Thank you very much, Mr. Fuller. Jean-Marie Andaba, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, ABEL Bela Samari. Good afternoon to your guests. Good afternoon to our listeners.
Biometric Politique.
Which Le quorum est déjà atteint, tout le panel est déjà de l'autre côté des bureaux, y compris le ministre Ngolé et les autres qui sont déjà mobilisés. Nous avons le devoir d'expliquer aux Camerounais ce qui se passe dans les régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest. On a convoqué une expertise, l'élite politico-administrative de ces régions, les géostratèges, les experts en question de défense des droits de l'homme. Donc c'est un panel d'experts uniquement cet après-midi pour que les Camerounais comprennent pourquoi est-ce qu'on doit pleurer les morts du Nord-Ouest et quelles solutions? Est-ce qu'on peut parler d'économie de la guerre, de terrorisme, de sauvagerie ou tout simplement, en tout cas, d'autres mots qui minent cette question-là? On parle parfois de guérilla. Est-ce qu'on est déjà à l'étape de guérilla dans ces régions? Réponse dans un instant avec le panel.
Listeners, don't move a muzzle because up next is Bawo Metropolitan with Jean-Marie Andava.
Royal FM 88.4.
Dans un instant, sur votre radio, c'est la pub.
Up next is a commercial pitch.
Professionnels des transports urbains par taxi, périurbains, ceci vous concerne. La mutuelle des professionnels des transports routiers du Cameroun, votre mutuelle, met à la disposition de ses membres mutualistes participants un fonds de solidarité permettant de vous assister dans le volet juridique, judiciaire, socio-économique, dans l'administration des soins en cas d'événement heureux ou malheureux. L'adhésion ou les contributions à la MUNTROC se font au sein de votre syndicat ou association partenaire à la mutuelle ou dans toutes les agences Renapro Finance SA. Les livrets de contributions s'élèvent à 500 francs et les contributions 100 francs par jour ou 500 francs par semaine. Soyez à jour avec vos contributions à la MUNTROC pour bénéficier